Welcome to the Subway Conversation Chat. I'm your host, Jamie Malloy, and I'm here to talk some New York Yankees and New York Mets based up with my co-host, Joe Dalio. So without any further ado, here's Joe. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Oh, I think his camera wasn't working. Okay, let's try this again. So without any further ado, sorry for the delay, folks. So without any further ado, here's Joe. Hey, Joe, how's it going?
Here I am. It said my page was unresponsive. So sorry. I'm not trying to hide on you guys, but everything seems to be good now. So, Jamie, good to see you again. How's everything going tonight?
It's going good. After we talk about our two favorite baseball teams who are playing well. Adam and the boys are going to be doing their draft night, which is why I'm dressed up in my Bills polo shirt.
Oh, okay. That's right. I forgot. I was on the show last week and unable to make it tonight, but you guys were going to dress up for it. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we are. Can you believe it's actually already less than 2 days away?
Yeah, I'm not a big draft person, to be honest with you. I love the NFL. We know that. We talk about it all the time on our show. But right now, we got baseball going on. You got hockey going on, basketball playoffs, all that good stuff. So football's on the back burner for me, but I'll definitely be, reading up and ready to go. But not to rain on your parade because it is fun. It is a big event, obviously. Again, I'm not trying to downplay it. It's just for me, I got other sports that I'm paying more attention to these days.
Okay. So anyway, let's start out with the baseball show with some Yankees injury reports. First, we're going to talk about right-handed pitcher Kirk Cousins' cousin, Jake Cousins. They actually are cousins, by the way. This is no cap. They actually are.
That's awesome.
Anyway, the right-handed pitcher has been out with a right forearm strain. On April 16th, manager Aaron Boone stated that Cousins is a couple of weeks away from throwing live batting practice. The right-handed pitcher was moved to the 60-day injured list on March 27th and is available to return on May 26th. I expect a return possibly May 26th or the beginning of June. As long as he doesn't catch heat waves in the middle of June, that's fine.
Yeah, right. That's a good one. I like that.
Anyway, moving on to another right-handed pitcher, Jonathan the Lightning Rod Loaisiga. He has been recovering from UCL surgery, and on April 21st, he threw a live bullpen session and has one more targeted for tomorrow. He'll begin a minor league rehab assignment on April 26th. Expect to return late May, early June. So now let's turn it over to Joe for some Mets news. Joe?
All right. Thanks, Jamie. Not much going on as far as moves for the Mets, but some injury news that I could share here with you as well. Some positive and negative. I guess I'll start with the negative. And last week I had mentioned that Jose Siri was going to miss extended time. That's all they knew at that point. He fouled the ball off his leg and actually broke a bone in the leg. So now it's official. It looks like he's going to be out about 8 to 10 weeks. So that's basically 2 months. We're talking, mid to late June. So it's a shame. I mean, he wasn't hitting well, but again, added a spark and playing some good center field. So now the Mets are going to have to shuffle some people around in the outfield. You don't want to see anybody get hurt like that, especially a freak play like that. I mean, fouling a ball off your leg. So again, 8 to 10 weeks for Jose Siri. Now, some good news here. Looks like Francisco Alvarez and Jeff McNeil are both making positive strides on their rehabs. Both are in Binghamton, so rumbling on those ponies in Binghamton there, and continuing their minor league rehab a little bit longer. Shouldn't be long before either one of them or both of them are back. Now, they got a little bit of a scare earlier in the week with Mark Vientos. He made a great fielding play. I believe he jumped high to catch a ball. I was watching it, and unfortunately strained a groin, and so left that game, and I believe missed a game or two. And he was available last night, and he's in the lineup tonight. Even got an RBI tonight. So good to see him back in the lineup. Looks like he's fine. He's not going to miss any major time. So that's basically it on the transaction/injury front. So I'm going to send it right back over to you, Jamie.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. Guess what, Joe? We're doing something a little different tonight. We're actually going to do our question of the week segment early tonight. We're going to do it. In fact, we're going to do it about right now. So
okay.
Anyway, Joe, would you like to give it a try?
Yeah, let's give it a try. Maybe since it's earlier in the show, I have a better chance of getting it right.
Okay. So anyway, Joe, here's your trivia, your early trivia question for this episode. Can you guess this player? He has won a batting title in 3 different decades, the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Is it Satchel Turn the Page? Is it George Pine Tar Man Brett? Is it Cal Ripken Jr. for 20 years? Or is it Pete Gamblin' Rose?
Ooh. You said batting title?
Yes.
All right. Now I'm going to eliminate Satchel Paige, even though he played a long time. I don't think Ripken played in the 70s. I think he started in the 80s. So that's going to knock it down to George Brett and Pete Rose. Ooh. I don't know. When you said George Brett, even though Pete Rose definitely one of the best hitters of all time, I'm going to go with George Brett.
You got it. It was George Brett. He won the batting titles in 1976, 1980, and 1990.
Excellent. I remember in 80, he was hitting close to 400 most of the year. I don't know if it says if you have the stat there, but I think he ended up hitting like 390 for the season. The closest that
I don't have the stat, but that's awesome to know.
I think he was hitting 390. So it's good I got one right. Now, my friend Tom here, who watches us pretty much every week, and you may remember he supplied some questions for you during our Bills podcast. He's given me a couple of questions that I'm going to throw at you if you got a second here. And I thought they were very interesting questions. But Tom, we appreciate these questions. And I was intrigued myself, and I wouldn't have got these. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, the one is a situational question here. And what he says is some years ago, a minor league pitcher was credited with the win, and he never threw a pitch. How is that possible?
Wait, you say it again? It's kind of a riddle.
It is. This one is. A minor league pitcher was actually, this is a true story. He got the win in the game. Did not throw a pitch in the game. How did he get the win?
Did the other starting pitcher get hurt and he came and he or wait, was he a man? Did he end up being a manager? Or did he get called up to the MLB?
No, this was in the minor league game. But still, if it would have happened in a major league game, it would be the same.
I'm trying to break the riddle here because it's an interesting question.
It is.
How did he get the win and he never threw a pitch? Is it because was there a 10-run rule back then, or that never existed?
No, I don't know when this is from. You ready for the answer?
Yeah.
So Tom says it was a tie game, and the pitcher comes in, and before he throws a pitch, he picks a guy off first base. Inning over.
Oh,
then his
so
team
there was
comes
2 outs
up-
in the inning, right?
2 outs in the inning. I guess I should have said that. So it must have been 2 outs in the inning. Picks the guy off first base. This is in the 9th inning too. His team comes up, gets a walk-off hit, and he gets the win without throwing a pitch.
Oh, I get it.
In the game.
Good one, Tom. I struggled with that one.
I would have never got that. If I'm being honest here. He's got one more here. Where is it?
My grandpa, if he was still alive, would have gotten that one, I think.
You think so? And I got some friends out here. Remember Ray, who came on our football show?
Yeah.
He's very good at questions like that. And I think he even did some on our show.
He did.
So one more. And this one, I guess he didn't give choices, but since you always give me choices, I'm going to give you some choices here. It says this player hit 81 home runs to break up a no-hitter throughout his career. Who is this player? Hank Aaron, Ricky Henderson, Willie Mays, or Don Mattingly?
Is it Don Mattingly?
It is not.
I'll try another guess. Willie Mays?
It is not.
Hank Aaron?
It is not.
Okay, so then by process of elimination, it's who's
Ricky Henderson.
It was Ricky Henderson.
Now, Tom's explanation here, Ricky Henderson hit 81 leadoff home runs in his career, which is the MLB record, right? So technically that constitutes breaking up a no-hitter.
Oh, because he's a leadoff. He was a leadoff hitter.
Those were leadoff home runs there.
They were leadoff home runs.
So now don't feel bad for not getting that, because the questions Tom's coming up with here, they're amazing questions. We'll admit they are much more difficult questions than you're sending to me.
Thank you for sending them, Tom. You're always welcome to do that again, though. It's a good brain exercise.
It is. And again, now he didn't give any choices on here. I came up with those choices, but I would have never figured that out either. Probably even with the choices. Ricky Henderson might have been the last choice that I came up with here. So
well, don't forget, he was also the king of stolen bases back then, before the bigger bases, and that's when they actually were, when stealing was relevant. Right.
Which we're kind of coming back to that a little bit.
Yeah.
Except they're stealing onto the pizza box bases there. So, but anyway, yeah, Tom, we appreciate the questions and keep them coming.
Anyway, now we take it back over to Joe for some more Mets updates. Joe?
Okay. So let's talk some Mets a little bit. Been a great week. Now the Mets went 5-2, and it started, we'll go back to last Tuesday. They lost to the Twins, and they lost on Wednesday to the Twins. And they haven't lost since. They've won 5 in a row. And since that last game there, 4-game sweep against the Cardinals at home. And so far won the first game against the Phillies. Now, before we went on the air here, I was looking, the Mets were up 1-0. They're doing extremely well overall. And over the week, they outscored their opponents 30-23. So it's not too dominant. They're winning close games. That's an average of about 4.5 to 3.5 in those 6 games there. Now, here's something that I'm really enjoying. The Mets so far before tonight are 10-1 at home. Best home team in the league. 10-1. Now, I honestly cannot remember a bigger home field advantage for the Mets. Honestly, and I told somebody this the other day, since like the 80s championship teams or close to championship teams. I mean, in the mid 80s, even a couple of years before they won the World Series in 86, they had a dominant home field advantage, loudest crowd in baseball. And even a couple of years after they won the World Series, one of the bigger home field advantages at Shea Stadium. Again, it's easily the biggest home field advantage they've had since moving to Citi Field. Now, I look back 2015 when they went to the World Series that year, especially second half of the season, they had a huge home field advantage and the place was rocking. It's April, and I haven't heard Citi Field this loud. That is since I've heard it so far in these games. And again, 10-1, they are just ultra dominant at home. So love to see that. Let's talk about sleeping giants awaking. And the Mets have had several sleeping giants come alive here. One of them is named Francisco Lindor, potential MVP candidate last season. Started off a little slow this season again, but he caught fire this week. He hit 2 home runs just last night, 4 for the week, 7 RBIs for the week, 10 hits for the week. So that equates to a .417 batting average, a 1398 OPS. And oh, by the way, he scored 7 runs as well. Mark Vientos also woke up, playing well in the field. Again, made a great play. Unfortunately, hurt himself a little bit with that. But he had 2 solo home runs this week, both RBIs with those home runs, a 1200 OPS. Pete Alonso keeps going. He had a home run, 4 RBIs this week, 994 OPS. And he's tied for second in RBIs. I think I said he was tied for third last week. Tied for second now with 24. Former Met Wilmer Flores has 24. The guy that's got 25, some guy we may have heard of named Judge. Also, Jesse Winker hit his first home run of the season, a couple RBIs and a 976 OPS. Good to see him get going. Luis Angel Acuna keeping this is second good week in a row. He had a 357 batting average this week, 2 more stolen bases, 3 more runs scored. So definitely contributing to the offense. Not much power, but again, the speed. He's getting on base. He's getting hits, doing well. Brett Beatty, 313 batting average this week. Easily his best week, 857 OPS. Love how he just stepped in. Vientos was out for a couple of games, and Beatty just stepped right in at third base, excuse me, and did very well. Now, Juan Soto, a little quiet, a 227 batting average, but still had 5 RBIs. And remember, I had said last week that, he had been like 0 for 11, 0 for 12 or something with runners on base, runners in scoring position, and then hit a big home run in a game against the Twins. Didn't have any home runs this week, but again, 5 RBIs, getting runs in there. And that's second on the team this week to Lindor's 7 RBIs for the week. So definitely good hitting by the Mets. And some guys that weren't hitting definitely stepped it up a little bit. Now let's talk about some pitching here. Now, Griffin Canning definitely had his best start of the season so far. 6 innings. And again, we always talk about those starting pitchers getting some innings in. And again, I wish 6 innings these days was just, was an okay performance. I hate to say again, wow, he actually went 6 innings. But he did. And he only gave up 3 hits in those 6 innings, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts, a .83 whip. And he got the win in that game. Ex-Yankee Clay Holmes also went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run. Didn't get the win in that game, but still an encouraging performance for him. Tyler McGill, this is the best I've seen him pitch. So again, he had a very good game here, 5 1/3. Only gave up 1 hit, although he did give up 4 walks, which hopefully he can get those down. No earned runs, 10 strikeouts. In those 5 1/3 innings. The batting average against him in that game, .059. So again, Tyler McGill, I haven't seen him pitch this well ever. David Peterson as well. Last season pitched his best, pitching even better this year so far. He went 5 1/3 or 5 2/3, I think. 5 1/3. 7 hits though, 3 earned runs. but 9 strikeouts. So definitely another great game there. Kodai Senga, 5 2/3, just 3 hits, no earned runs, got the win. So starting pitching, amazing. Now the relievers who had been pitching so well did struggle a little bit. Some of the guys that were really holding the fort, Brausebon, Butto, Kranick, all had ERAs this week over 4.5. Kranick had like a 7 ERA. But Butto and Brausebon actually got wins in those games. So hopefully they can get back to pitching the way they were. AJ Minter, 3 innings pitched, no hits allowed, 3 walks. So that's like a 1 whip. Now, Edwin Diaz was the only pitcher last week who had a bad week. He pitched like Edwin Diaz this week, 3 saves, pitched a total of 4 innings for the week, just gave up 1 home run, and that was the only hit that he gave up. 8 strikeouts in those 4 innings and an .083 batting average against. So definitely Edwin Diaz pitching like we know he's capable of. So as we look ahead, the Mets are going to finish the series against the Phillies tomorrow. On Thursday, they're going to have their first day off since April 10th. So that's going to come in handy. Now, a little bit of a weird schedule here. They're going to play a 4-game series at Washington Friday through Monday, but then they're going to come home for a 3-game series. That's it, against Arizona, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. And then go on a 2-series road trip, St. Louis and Arizona at the end of the week. But definitely, again, this team playing well. So the Mets now 16-7, 3-game lead currently in the National League East, and they are tied for the best record in Major League Baseball with the Padres and the Dodgers, both with the same 16-7 record. So things definitely going well. Mets getting off to a great start, taking this season seriously, and showing us that they are a team on a mission and, ready to make some noise here in the National League and throughout baseball. So thanks very much, Jamie. I'm going to send it back to you. I don't know if you got any more Yankees news there to talk about.
Mm-hmm. I do. So we're going to start out with, what do you make of Anthony Volpe's glove on defense despite streaky hitting? Anyway, it is without a doubt New York Yankees shortstop Anthony Volpe is a gem in the field. Yes, he's been a streaky hitter throughout his entire career, and the Yankees nation knows that. But they also know what a treat he is as a shortstop. He's a Gold Glove candidate shortstop every year with decent power and contact at the plate. And we have a quote, "That is who he is," manager Aaron Boone said. He's just such a good player. It's so valuable to have someone like that at the premier position out there, to have him play the way he does. It's big. Anyway, on Friday night, Volpe was 0 for 4 and struck out 3 times. Nevertheless, he made some key plays at shortstop to preserve the win over the Tampa Bay Rays, 1-0. Since coming to the MLB, the 23-year-old has been a hot and cold, either hot or cold hitter with no middle ground. I always feel like, we have a quote here, "I always feel like you can impact the game any pitch, any play," Volpe said. "If you have 1% of something taken away from what you could do for your teammates, then you're not being the best teammate you can be. Obviously, at the plate, I want to do my best to help the team. And then once that's done, good or bad, I want to go onto the field and be ready for anything hit my way." Anyway, the Yankees are still waiting patiently for Volpe to be more consistent on offense. He began 2025 with 4 home runs. It was hitting .297 with a 1069 OPS, 9 strikeouts, and 3 walks through 9 games. In his last 12 games, Volpe has been parked, going 4-39, which is 105, with 17 strikeouts and 7 walks. So at least he's still getting on base. He just has to get better with swinging at pitches he shouldn't be. So I'm just making, we have a quote, I'm just missing pitches, Volpe said. Keep working, keep saying to myself, and when I get them in the zone and get into damage counts, I feel like I'll be in a good spot. So, Joe, Volpe is a streaky hitter as he tends to swing for the fences for a little guy, but when he hits, he hits. And he also does walk, even though he strikes out a lot. What do you think he has to be able to do to be a more consistent hitter, as he's been a very steady defender since joining the Yankees in 2023?
Well, I think you actually said it. I think you quoted him that, he needs to be more selective and not swing at as many bad pitches. He's still young. I mean, how old is he? Do you know?
24, I think.
Right?
Going to be 24, yeah.
So that's still extremely young here. So he hasn't hit his stride yet, and he's going to learn that with maturity, with experience, to be more selective at the plate, to swing at his pitches. So I think once he starts doing that, that's something that'll get him more consistent. Also, stop trying to kill the ball, because again, what do you got to do to hit it out of Yankee Stadium?
Pop it up to the right field porch.
Right? So just pop it up and let the wind blow, and there you go. That'll pad the stats a little bit. But seriously, just be more selective and go for his pitches. And I think that'll be the biggest step to, get him a little more consistent at the plate. He's already made some great contributions, but that, like I said, will definitely add to the consistency.
Mm-hmm. And moving on, why should this top New York Yankees power hitting prospect make his MLB debut a year earlier than projected? The Yankees have more quality of top prospects than the quantity they would like to have, like their fellow peers in the MLB. But one prospect that they have, I know I consider him, or he's considered to be by baseball analyst Aaron Judge 2.0. Spencer Jones of Double-A Somerset gave Yankee fans in spring training a solid sample size of the type of long ball home run hitter he could be in the MLB. The Yanks' number two prospect attended spring training as a non-roster invite and did very well. He hit .250 with a .927 OPS. He hit 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in 17 contests. The organization, yes, the Yankees organization wanted him to make the opening day roster right away, but because it was a small sample size, they just decided to keep him in Double-A for one more season of seasoning, and then possibly get him up to Triple-A later. But they still think he could make the big leagues this year, even though in 2026 he's supposed to make it. Mm-hmm. So in the first 13 games of the Double-A season, the power hitter's batting .255 with a .982 OPS with 5 home runs and 10 RBIs. This week, he drilled 2 home runs in a game where one of them traveled over 400 feet and left the bat at 113.5 miles per hour. Nice. There's that good old exit velocity. Jones will eventually earn his first shot with the MLB, but it may be very soon. He does get promoted to Triple-A Scranton. The only thing that could hold him back until 2026 from making it this year is the Yankees' outfield depth is loaded. But if you watch him, he's got his power hitter, something you can't coach. Same thing with Aaron Judge. Mm-hmm. Joe, what do you think of Spencer Jones' chances of making the big leagues either later this year or potentially at the beginning of 2026 next year?
Yeah, and first of all, thanks, because you answered one of my questions I was about to ask. Like, I wasn't sure exactly where on the the projection chart there, or prospect chart. That's it. Yeah. Like as far as what number prospect he was on there. So you said he's the number 2 prospect, And because a lot of times I'll track those. I haven't quite done it this year yet, but I always like to see those guys, make the big league clubs. Now, you said it too. The Yankees are pretty, have some really good depth in the outfield. So that might slow the chances of him coming up. But I don't know what his stats are in the minors. I could definitely see him getting to Scranton as long as he continues to hit like he is. Now, I'm not a big exit velocity guy, but I know what 113 miles an hour is, and I know that's crazy.
That's Judge-like.
Yeah, exactly. Coming
or,
off the
or
bat.
Ben Rice is already hitting that too.
Right. Or, I know some guy, Alonso, that usually comes close to that.
Or Soto, but anyway.
Right. So, if he keeps hitting like that, then I definitely think he's going to get a AAA opportunity here. And I guess we'll see. And like I said, in the prospects list, that usually says, when they're expected to, make the big league club. And again, it's early in the season. I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to that just yet. But I'd be curious now. And actually, I am going to take a look and see, I guess, where he stands. And, as the season goes on, I guess we'll be better able to answer that question as to whether he gets a chance with the Yankees this year, or if maybe he's just got to wait a little bit longer. So I'd be very curious to see.
And I wasn't joking, Joe, about calling him Aaron Judge 2.0, because a lot of people actually think he is. They think he's a clone of them, like, because he's 6'7", 260. He's big like him. He can crack the ball like him. He can actually run really well for his size too.
You imagine two guys like that in the same lineup?
We had that last year, but
yeah.
Anyway, that was short-lived. Moving on to the future. But yeah I see what
that's not far-fetched. It could, like you said, could happen this year, or at least next year. So
potentially three guys if Dominguez too, once he figures it out.
Right. Which he's not too far off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be the next generation of Torrey Hunter, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Benji Molina, Garrett Anderson, that crew with the old Angels.
Right. And wait till the weather starts warming up in Yankee Stadium.
Notice I said Garrett Anderson. That was 2005. Anyway, let's talk about another guy who. Why does Jazz Chisholm play the game but is overly passionate? Joe, I mean, you're probably.
I don't think anybody could be overly passionate. I mean, he just got suspended for something, but
you can't get any more overly passionate as Chisholm, though.
Right. And again, I'm not going to criticize a guy for being overly passionate. Again, I'm going to criticize a guy maybe for, acting the way that he did. But again, I like his passion and I like the way he plays the game.
No, see, I think he has a passion that, like, you can't teach. And in a sport like baseball, where it used to be boring and everything, and now they're trying to make it a fun game, he's the type of player you need in the league.
Exactly. And he was the same way with the Marlins when he was on that team. He was a spark plug for a team that nobody really paid attention to. He was like the one draw on that team, really. And, he did the same thing when he was with Miami.
But anyway, last week, New York Yankees second baseman Jazz Chisholm Jr. was suspended for one game against the Tampa Bay Rays. According to MLB Senior VP of On-Field Operations, we have a quote, infielder Jazz Chisholm Jr. of the New York Yankees has received a one-game suspension and an undisclosed fine for his conduct, including his violation of the Major League Baseball social media policy for Major League players during the Thursday, April 17th game against the Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa. After his ejection, Chisholm went into the Yankees clubhouse and posted "not even effing close" on X when he saw the strike. And we have a quote from Aaron Boone. I don't want him doing that, Boone said, of his second baseman's phone usage during the game. Mm-hmm. Based on what the MLB spokesperson told The Athletic on Thursday night, that Chisholm did confess to posting it on X. So, Joe, what's up with not just Jazz Chisholm, but these players taking their phones out after they get ejected during a game and texting or tweeting during a game like that? And do you think Chisholm should be more careful for posting stuff like that on X, especially when he knew it violated the policy and it degrades an umpire by doing that?
Right. I think it's an obvious yes to that answer. Now, to give him credit, I mean, he's right. It wasn't effing close. Okay, so I understand why he's getting a little upset with that. However, again, no, I totally disagree with players, because you're opening up a whole new can of worms with this now. And I'm thinking and hoping that, Major League Baseball is going to clamp down heavily on it. I mean, it got a game suspension, which I think that sends a message. But I'm totally against players, again, taking out a phone after you get ejected and then just ripping all over social media. There's no place for that, in my opinion. Now, again, I think there's a fine line there. And sometimes, managers get fined when they criticize umpires and stuff like that. Sometimes umpires have to be criticized. If you're making awful and obviously awful calls in a game, in a way, I think somebody should be called out, but not this way. Again, let the manager talk, let them do it. You don't have to, in the middle of a game, take out something on social media and put garbage out there. Again, I understand why he's frustrated. Again, it was a horrible call, I think. And just there's different ways to handle it. And let's not open that can of worms. And because God only knows then what goes out on social media besides stuff like that. So, don't bother with that stuff. Again, sometimes it's the player thinks it's worth the fine to criticize during a press conference or something like that. Okay, sometimes I get that, but not this way.
But Joe, I think it's funny how certain people in our podcasting crew don't want the ABA. You and I, it's like tell me again why you don't want the ABA. Like, this is why, or the ABS. This is why you got to have the ABS, is because of things like that.
I'm totally for it. Again, because I'm so sick of seeing horrible calls, and they're getting worse. And I actually this year, besides this and some, isolated incidents, I think they've been better. But the last few years, the calls at home plate have just been so inconsistently off that you're only asking for something like this. So I would not be against at all. The ABA, I would be against, because that's
ABS.
basketball, but I know. But the ABS, I would definitely be all for it. And I think you said you would be too, right?
Yeah, I don't get where some people say, oh, it's fast, and they say it's not accurate when you watch it and blah, blah, blah and everything. I don't know where some people get that from, though, where they say that.
Why? Because catchers can't frame pitches anymore, and it takes away. There's an art to that, and I can see where some people are coming from. Can it detect, a breaking curve or something? But it seems to be doing okay in the minor leagues.
Right.
So
I get this. It's like, what if a random person that's criticizing it, though? What if that was your team in the bottom of the ninth of the World Series, right? And
yeah,
you're losing 5-4, and you got the bases loaded. It's a 3-2 count. You need a walk to tie the game, and they call the strike, and it was obviously not. Think about it. If you put the ABA in there and they call it a ball, that's the difference between losing 5-4 and we're still playing 5-5 in the World Series.
I agree. And you know what? I think players would adjust to this quickly, because you're going to have a consistent strike zone, unlike the all over the place strike zone that they have now. So I think players would adjust easily to this, and they're going to understand more so than they do now what's a strike and what's not a strike. And
see, I think you're usually a purist, Joe, and like the purists are the ones that don't like it because they like keep it the way it is. But you and I, we as the games have gone on, where it's hard to keep it pure when it's gotten worse.
I am a purist, but some things have happened in baseball recently, even with the designated hitter. I was like, you know what? It's time. Okay. Just the way the game has changed and everything. The pitch clock, I was 1,000% in favor of that because I couldn't even watch full baseball games anymore.
Right.
And it's the same with this. People were like that with replay. What? No, this replay is ruining the game. It's not, we just want the natural calls. Well, you know what? The natural calls were getting screwed up more and more. And again, do you want a natural call that's wrong in a big game that costs the team a championship, perhaps, or a chance at a championship? So I think people have gotten used to replay. So, and people have gotten used to the pitch clock now, and it's made the game a heck of a lot better. So I think this would do the same thing. And again, it seems to have worked in the minor leagues. So why not in the majors?
And the reason why they got the challenge system with the headphones is because of that Detroit Tigers pitcher who got robbed of the perfect game. If they had that challenge system, and they would have overturned, and he would have gotten the perfect game.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, he does play with passion, Joe, but Chisholm does a lot of off-color things. We mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Not a surprise.
He'll mature. And again, I think he does far more good than bad. So
right.
We'll give him credit there.
Anyway, we're going to move on to why is it Max Fried's team now this year? Based on Max Fried's point of view, the single he allowed in the bottom of the 8th inning was the end to his no-hitter bid. But as Megan Trainor would remind us, no, tell him up. Wait, no, tell him no, tell him no, no, no. Just a few minutes before the hit, there was an unexpected scoring change where one error in the 6th inning was converted to a hit for the Marlins, or for the Rays,
Mm-hmm.
for the Rays. Excuse me. Fried kept his cool all game and still delivered a strong 7 2/3 innings of shutout ball as the New York Yankees defeated the Tampa Bay Rays 4-0 at Steinbrenner Field. And we have a quote. I'm just trying to be myself, Fried said. When I take the ball, I just want to make sure we have a really good chance to win that day. When I prep, I just want to make sure that I'm leaving everything out there, no matter how I feel or what the circumstances are. Showings like this were what the Yankees expected when Fried agreed to an 8-year, $218 million contract back on December 17th. The initial plan was to pair Fried with Garrett Cole as the 1-2 punch at the top of the pitching order. Now with Cole recovering from season-ending Tommy John surgery, Fried has carried the weight on his shoulder with a 4-0 record and a 1.42 ERA in 5 starts. And we have a quote. He's incredible, Aaron Judge said. Everything that people have said about him from afar, he's the real deal. You see it up close, especially to lose a guy like Garrett Cole, who you can't replace. And then you sub in Max Fried to go and be that ace for us. It's been fun to watch. Mm-hmm. Also added Cody Bellinger, quote, it doesn't surprise me at all. I've gotten plenty of bats off him with very little success. He's one of the best pitchers in the game. He knows how to pitch. So, Joe, how come in this era of technology of getting things right ended up costing Fried's no-hit bid? But he still pitched well, too. What did you think of him going 7 2/3 inning, which we don't see nowadays, too?
Yeah, first of all, I hate when they make changes in the scoring like that, unless it's an obvious mistake. Now, I didn't see it at all, so I don't know if it was an obvious mistake. They shouldn't be making changes like that in the middle of a game. Now, I would say that whether he's got a no-hitter going or not, it's just stupid. I'm seeing it more and more, and they're just making these dumb changes. Now, again, if it's a horrible call, if if a shortstop gets a ball that goes right through his legs that he should have had, that they graded it or that they scored it a hit, and then they change it to an error later on or something like that. Okay, obviously you want to get it right, but these borderline calls that they're making changes to 2 innings later, you made the call, leave it alone. And again, I didn't see it, so I can't comment on whether it was legit or not, but still, I hate when they do that. Excuse me, Max Fried is acting like and talking like the ace of a staff, and he's pitching like it too, obviously. So good to see. They signed him for the big contract there. It's a new step, a new chapter for him. He was going to step in anyway, but he knew he really had to step up once Garrett Cole went down, and it was going to be gone long term. So I think he's taken that role. He's relished that role. He's cherished that role, and look at what he's done. I mean, he's excelled in that role. You said he's got a 1-something ERA in 5 games. That's amazing. And so I like how he's just kind of grabbed this opportunity and really taken advantage of it and done a great job with it.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more. I wonder what's going to happen next year. When Cole comes back, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. That'll take some of the pressure off him, and he'll probably excel in that role too.
Right. Mm-hmm. Anyway, where are we? Oh yeah. To my next point. What do you think of Aaron Boone's first ejection of the season? We couldn't go a whole baseball season without Aaron Boone getting tossed, right, Joe?
Of course not.
Or Carlos Mendoza.
Yeah.
Who do you think he learned that from, right? Being a bench coach.
Exactly. The good thing about both those guys, though, is it's for a good reason if they're getting booted from a game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Aaron Boone is known as one of the best managers in the current MLB. He also has a reputation of causing spectacles that lead to him being tossed out of a game. While the Yankees skipper has done a good job of reeling it in this time, enough was enough. Aaron Judge believed to have crushed a home run to left field that on TV was fair, but it was called a foul ball and upheld by replay. Then Judge struck out, which prompted Boone to charge out to third base, and asking the umpire why he missed a home run, ultimately leading to his first ejection of the season. Yeah, that was it. Anyway, how could the Yankees possibly remove Trent Grisham from the lineup? Anyway, we all know Trent Grisham is consistently gem-like on defense. This year, he has learned to hit the ball consistently and hard, like how a true New York Yankee should do it. Grisham did it once more in a 4-0 win over Tampa on Sunday, leading it off with a solo shot, and then later adding a strong diving catch. And we have a quote from the manager. He's been doing incredible things, Aaron Judge said, especially leading off the game with a homer and then making a diving play like that. He's doing it all right now for us. After consecutive games with a home run, Grisham now has 6 total on the year, nipping on the heels of Judge's 7 for the team lead. The lefty is hitting .320 with a 1093 OPS through 20 games.
Wow.
Yep. Another quote from the manager. He's been so good, manager Aaron Boone said before the game when asked about Grisham batting leadoff for the first time as a Yankee. Obviously love the way he's playing all around right now. Grisham got up from his feet and fired a strike to second base to get Danny Jansen out, who was trying to tag up on the catch and instead became a double play. And we have another quote from Bellinger. Really good play, Cody Bellinger said. Really windy, and he did a great job of getting to the ball. Not only that, but picking up his head right away and making a great throw. It's not easy to get up and make a perfect throw like that. Just a heads up baseball player. He's playing extremely well right now. It's fun to watch. Anyway, Grisham's Travis Hunter like two-way playing style. Yes, I went there, Joe. Has left Boone no choice but to find ways to retake him in the batting order. He was in the game Sunday with Aaron Judge sliding to DH for Ben Rice, who was injured with a bruised elbow, and Bellinger playing right field. Excuse me. In the previous two games, Grisham started with Bellinger and Jason Dominguez getting a day off, each getting a day off. He is currently out of the lineup now as he is on paternity leave. This will give other players a chance to fill in for him. So, Joe, what do you think has been Grisham's secret weapon to his fast start to the season?
Yeah, that's a very good question. What's been going on with Reggie Grisham? I mean, Trent Grisham, right? We had that Reggie lookalike picture that they showed a few games ago. I really don't know what's happened to this guy. And you, like you said, he's doing it both in the field. He's hitting home runs. He's hitting clutch. So it's just good to see. And you were talking about that Yankees outfield depth not too long ago here. And here, you just gave some good examples of it, with some of the other guys you mentioned, plus him. Kind of hard to get him out of the lineup if you're going to be hitting and fielding like that. So I don't have an answer as to what all of a sudden elevated him to all-star status here, but I think it's kind of cool to watch. And, we'll see if he continues to resemble Reggie. Now, again, it's getting warmer. He's a left-handed hitter. What's he got to do to get more home runs?
Pop it up to the right field porch.
Yep, there you go. So that's basically it. Now, I was going to ask you, too, about the Aaron Boone situation there and about him getting kicked out. I didn't see the play that got him kicked out. Was it a home run or was it not?
It was a home. It should have been a home run, and they called it foul, and then they replayed it, and it was obvious it was a home run.
Okay.
And it got overturned, and then Judge struck out, and that's when Boone went off after
he went crazy
on the third base umpire.
So it was an obvious missed call, even though they checked it on replay, and that proved that it was a home run too.
Yeah.
That why I don't get it. So and again, that's how you're going to make a point.
It's also because the foul poles are smaller at Steinbrenner Stadium. They're only 30 feet high. At Yankee Stadium, they're 90 feet high.
Okay, that's a very good point. So if that's at Yankee Stadium or anywhere else, it probably hits the foul pole.
Right.
And okay, I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the nuances of, unfortunately, that you have to deal with at a park, playing at a spring training facility there, that something like that comes into play. So interesting. Never thought of that, wasn't aware of it. But yeah, hopefully Grisham keeps going. It's nice to see. And I'm sure, again, as that weather gets warmer, he's going to continue to excel there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and before we end our normal conclusion of this program, we have a programming note, as we will not be on next week due to scheduling conflicts, but we will be back on Tuesday, May 6th at 8 o'clock p.m. So please sure to tune back in then as we resume Driving to the Top productions that week. Well, it looks like we come to the end of our show. So, Joe, where can we find you on social media on April 22nd, 2025? And guess what? This is our last show of April because we're taking next week off. How about that?
That is crazy. And you made a comment earlier today, to me that it's like this is our fifth episode already. Mm-hmm. And we're at the end of April. And again, missing next week. We're going to be coming back in May. So baseball is almost a month old already. It's already an exciting season, and it's only going to get better. So we look forward to it. But I'll put my comments on Twitter X on Joe Dell Sports. You can get some of my comments not only about baseball, but Knicks playoffs and hockey playoffs and things like that. Again, Joe Dell Sports on Twitter X.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, you can find me, yours truly, on Bill's Chat 1 at Bill's Mafia Chat, and also Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist at DJ Dog Tags on X, theforkball.com, and stadiumrant.com, where I write about all sports. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page. Don't forget to like, comment, and ring the bell for notifications. Thank you very much for listening to this episode tonight. And don't forget to tune in tonight, as I'll be going on open mic night very, very soon after we wrap up this show with my Bills polo, because we're doing mock draft night.
Yes, have fun with that.
Well, and then for more content like the Subway Conversation Show or open mic or our UFL show on Driving to the Top Productions, please visit our YouTube page, Twitch stream, Facebook stream, X stream, or wherever you consume your podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you back with us in 2 weeks on May 6th at 8 o'clock p.m. on the Subway Conversation Chat. Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You've been listening to the Subway Conversation Chat with Jamie and Joe. Have a good night, folks, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Good night, everybody.